We've packed the toothbrush and some other stuff. We've locked up the house, said goodbye to the kids, said goodbye to the grandkids, and we're off on a trip of a lifetime to Albania and Uzbekistan and lots of places that aren't in between.
So Corinth, here we come.
So the plan is today to take a train from Athens to Corinth. However, we leave our apartment without any certainty about the logistics of how to do so. Information on the internet about trains is scarce and conflicting or just downright unhelpful. However, with the help of a couple of customer service reps with broken English, we end up on a train and then a bus and then a taxi, and that got us to where we needed to be. On the way to the train station, we saw a crowd. Like any good human being, we joined the crowd to see what the fuss was all about. There were a couple of guards dressed in their traditional costumes standing guard at the grave of the unknown soldier. Despite having pom-poms on their shoes and wearing something that looks like a dress, Uncle Google tells me these guys are actually part of an elite Greek light infantry unit, so don't mess with them. Within a couple of minutes of us being there, 3 more blokes dressed in the same attire came marching up behind in a very dramatic style. That's when the 2 up front came alive. The whole changing of the guard was an unexpected bonus on our walk to the station. And then, a little further on, I was drawn to an absolutely amazing violin busker. Now, I am the son of a music teacher and the brother of a violin player, so I know the difference between a good violin player and a sucky one. And this bloke was awesome. Probably some crack player from some top orchestra or something, doing a side hustle busking on the streets. Anyway, we're off. Train, bus, taxi. Halfway through this vlog on Corinth and we aren't even there yet. Come on, Ian, keep it moving. So, here you go, Corinth. Corinth was another of those very ancient Greek city-states, like Sparta, like Athens, like Thebes. In fact, when the Romans ruled over this place, they made Corinth their capital of the whole region. And for those that know their Bible, this is where the Apostle Paul lived for 18 months, as well as writing 2 letters to the church that was based here. And we know them as 1st and 2nd Corinthians. If you have ever heard the love chapter read out at weddings, the audience that was written for lived here. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of wrongdoing. Ancient Corinth has got that small town vibe, and I'm loving it. Our apartment has a balcony on the roof, and I get up early for the dawn before Helen and I wander down to the ancient ruins. This seems much more casual than the Athens Acropolis. We are allowed to wander through the ruins and literally reach out and touch ancient columns and carvings. Of particular note is the ancient Temple of Apollos. Not that there is much left of it, but you certainly get the impression of grandeur from the remaining columns. So this temple was built in the 6th century BC. So that makes it 2,600 years old. Oof. And that is the Temple of Apollo. Essentially, this area has been populated for a long time as it holds a strategic position between the mainland and the peninsula. Most of the building activity in this area is attributed to the few centuries either side of the BC AD point in time. The Greeks were busy in this area building temples and so on, but as were the Romans, who took control of this area not long after. What an amazing statue. These columns are a bit more short and stumpy. Probably a well. The museum has all the really cool stuff under a roof, although there are some parts of the museum that you weren't allowed to take photos in. Clearly not all of this one survived, but it looks like the important bits have. This is like one of those jigsaws where you have to fill in the missing pieces. This guy obviously had a broken arm, had his arm in a sling. Maybe they got the models for this range of statues from the hospital, because they all seem to have broken arms. Definitely a Roman. This person definitely liked grapes. First vasectomy gone wrong. Just seems to be some spare body parts. Not sure who this bloke is. Row, row, row your boat gently down the sea. Couldn't have said it better myself. So this would have been the entranceway into the whole complex. Massive buildings on either side of the avenue. Speaking of church, and being a Sunday and all, we thought it a good idea to pop along and see what's up. There was incense and candles, and lots of singing back and forth by two men with amazing voices, and their little song shall be my backing track for the rest of the vlog. After a couple of hours wandering through these ruins, we headed up to the top of the mountain that overlooks the town. This has a castle on it, and it's completely massive. I read that a few centuries BC, there was a temple to Aphrodite, and then a few centuries AD, the Christians came and built some churches, and then the Muslims came and built some mosques, and then the Venetians came and took it over. It sounds like everyone had a piece of action on this rock. The defensive walls were massive, and there were multiple lines of defences if the first lines fell. The views across the surrounding area was amazing. We're at the top of the mountain, and there's a spring of water. Looks a bit like the Great Wall of China. Bits of wall everywhere. castle is from the 1200s, so quite recent. Maybe not today. Our helpful but well-paid taxi driver then took us into New Corinth, where we took a quick peek at the canal, which seems to be quite a hit on any things to do list for this area. A quick few snaps and we are back in the taxi, back to our apartment for a well-deserved rest. Please like and subscribe.